Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Craig, and I'll be talking today on the topic of drawing on inner guidance. Many years ago, I was studying at the University of Illinois. I was majoring in medical illustration. And my roommate said one day, would you like to join me? I'm going to go to Alaska. And he had some friends near Anchorage, and he was this fellow was born on the same day, the same year. He was born in Minneapolis. I was born in LA, but we're about 2 or 3 hours apart on our birthdays. So, you'd think we were pretty similar, because boy, like two peas in a pod or something. Well, I was in this conservative group called Campus Crusade for Christ. I was basically carrying my Bible around and everything. He had flaming red hair. He looked like a Caucasian Jimi Hendrix. Anyway, here was this odd couple hitchhiking across country. I don't know what got me into telling this story, but anyway, we got to the Canadian border. This was during the Vietnam War, so the governments of Canada and the United States were really cracking down on people avoiding the draft and getting out of the United States. So we ended up trying to hitchhike into Canada, and we got a ride. Unfortunately, the ride that we got from was a couple that were returning to the Canada after picking up a whole couple cases of duty-free alcohol, which was banned at that time. And so we had to get searched, since we were in the car, we had to get searched in the holding cell that we were in. And we ended up walking back into the United States. and we had a tent, so we decided on, I guess it was State Highway 15, or somewhere in the northern Minnesota that goes across, and we spent 16 hours, because I remember it was a whole day and a night, and we would stick our thumbs out trying to get a ride back into Canada, but no, it never happened. So my roommate studied the I Ching, Chinese Book of Changes, and he says, let's see what that. I asked him, let's see what the I Ching has to say about our predicament, our journey here, and I guess he was paused for some silence, and then he looked at the interpretation. Kind of, we sat in silence for a couple minutes, and then he read what the specific interpretation was. A journey to the southwest is highly favorable. So our soul guidance happened through the medium of some ancient Chinese wisdom. And I reflected on this over the years, and it was for the next several months, it was this whole series of intuitive mysteries that happened to my consciousness. And I guess I remember it because it was a time when I was journeying to a spiritual awakening, coming to this community of Sunburst, which at the time was in Santa Barbara, and little did I know at the time that the man who founded Sunburst, the communities, lived with Yogananda for four or 5 years. He was a direct disciple. And the only book I had, I got it in a bookstore in Minneapolis, it was called The Autobiography of a Yogi. That's just kind of flew off the shelf, and I was reading it. I spent a better part of a month in the Rocky Mountains by myself reading that book, and something awakened in me. I had to find the source of this. I had to find some meaning in my life, and what Yogananda was describing was what I wanted to pursue. So I spent a lot of time in meditation. I was doing transcendental meditation, and I spent a lot of time, just reflecting. And I ended up leaving the Rocky Mountains there at Estes Park, and I got a ride to northern New Mexico, in a commune there, and I worked about 3 weeks. And then I got a ride to Los Angeles, and I had a friend of mine who lived in the Bay Area. He was a surfer, and he came down to visit me, and he had a place on the Mesa in Santa Barbara, so I stayed with him for a week or so. And then we drove up, one day we were on a drive, we drove up Gibraltar Road, and we saw these green buildings. There were houses and stuff near the very top there. And I thought, well, boy, must be some surfers or somebody that lived up there, because my friend was a surfer, and he thought, well, maybe they were surfers too. Little did I know that in a couple of weeks I would be there at that place. And so my first week at Sunburst was pretty hard. I chopped firewood, and we ended up fighting a fire on Refugio Canyon Road, way up near the farm. And the next day I came back, and I just really had doubts. I was like, boy, I don't know if I can take this. This is like, and one brother said to me, he said, when we were coming down after working all night and all day on the line, he said, I asked him, is this a typical day at Sunburst? And he said, he said, oh, this is nothing, we're going to. So, well, this talk is coming into a interesting segue here. Paramahansa Yogananda said, and this really touched me because it related to something that that poet, I can't remember his name, Robert Frost. Yeah, Robert Frost said, two roads. He came to a fork in the road. Two roads diverged in the woods, and I took the road less traveled. And I thought of this because that afternoon, I packed up all my belongings, which consist of a backpack and a pup tent, and headed down Gibraltar Road. I reached a point on an overlook, which we later called, that's where the young people come up and party and stuff on the weekends from Santa Barbara. And the fog layer was right at this turnout right there. Above it was clear sun, and below it was fog. And so I kept walking down into the fog. I was really agitated. I didn't know what I was going to do. Then I walked back into the sun, And then I walked back into the fog, back into the sun. I kept going back and forth, and then I just felt like I'm going to sit down by the side of the road and just empty my mind and just relax. And I heard this voice, go back up. So, and it was hard because I had all these, I had I didn't really have any attachments down below, but and I started going through my mind what I wanted to do and everything. There just wasn't anything there. And when I heard that voice, I just went back up. And I just continued chopping firewood like I did an hour and a half before. So sometimes in our life's journey, we have these points in our lives that are very transformative. They in the grand scope of our lives. And these several months in that year were, for me, that was was a very important turning point in my life. It's like when you remember past events, being married, or having your first child, or graduating from college, or if you're an athlete, winning the gold medal at the Olympics, or it was just a very singular event which informed the course of the rest of your life. And so it hasn't been easy, but I was really thankful that I made that journey on the road less traveled. And it's for each one of us to find that path on our life. Everyone has a different path and a different way of expressing themselves, and their connection with the Great Spirit is very unique to each one. I'd like to read a series of statements from Paramahansa Yogananda that kind of capture for me the essence of drawing on inner guidance. Inspiration arises within a calm heart. Intuition is the soul's power of knowing God. The true basis of religion is not belief, but intuitive experience. When you reflect about all the great saints, avatars, bodhisattvas, they retrieved their great immense knowledge and love and passion and were able to help heal humanity because of their direct intuitive experiences. And it is from those direct intuitive experiences that all the world's religions that was their foundation, the bedrock. And the power of intuition gives us the courage to move forward in life. And I thought of that, there was a mini-series that was out, it was called David, and it shows the reenactment of the shepherd boy who steps up and he has that intuition telling him to push through the crowd and confront Goliath, who's this 12-foot high monster, and is able to surrender to the divine, and then to move forward in his life to help his people. And the basic thing that that is part of our work here, I believe, is to know the divine, to succeed in knowing the divine. Then you will have true guidance. You're going to be a benefit to this world, and that was from Norman Paulsen. And probably the most important thing to remember as we try to be calm, we don't try to be calm, we just let go, and is that we have various tools that we can use to help us. Divine Spirit and all the lineages have given us tools of meditation that can help us arrive at that clear crystal clear place where we can see the inner sun and the source of all our true home. Upon the clear lake of calmness, you can see the crystal pure image of the great central sun, the Christ light. From this light, intuition gives us intuition to guide us upon our path homeward. As we study the teachings, the life intuitive experiences of all those famous teachers, all those teachers that surround us, there's pictures surround us in this room. One thing that really inspired me was what Yogananda said about the medulla center within us. And that medulla center at the base of the neck is the antenna or the receiver of intuitive superconsciousness. It is there where we receive the voices and the connection with the divine. Another thing was that the angels of virtue speak to us through our intuition. So the angels of virtue are the voice of Christ consciousness. It's the voice of God. It's the voice of love. It's virtue. The essence of virtue is love. When I thought about virtue and intuition, there was a full moon earlier this week, and I believe the full moon was in Patience. And patience and we were in the astrological sign of courage. Patience and courage really go together, because we have to have the patience to know when to move, when to act. And the courage, intuition gives us that courage to receive and then go forward. So as we move into meditation, let's find a comfortable seat and sit up straight. And take a few very deep breaths from your abdomen, expanding and letting out. Inhale. And you may close your eyes or soften your eyelids and just relax in your body. If there's any tension, feel like in your shoulders, just relax your shoulders. Just keep breathing really soft, just really calmly. And April, would you like to bring us into our meditation with the bowls? Intuition gives the soul knowledge of itself, self-realization. Paramahansa Yogananda. He also said that intuition also bestows clear understanding of truth and duty amidst the confusions of the world. And his direct disciple, Sri Dayamata, said, as you go on practicing meditation and living in the state of interior calmness bestowed by this practice, you will find increasing improvement in the development of your intuitive power. And as we move into this beautiful fall time, the transition from the busyness of the summer into the calmness and the inwardness of the winter, let us use the tools that we've been given to help us be calm. Meditation tools of yoga, breathing, eating right, exercise. All these help us to be calm and centered. You can now follow me in prayer. O Divine Spirit, we thank you for giving us the ability to talk to you and to hear your voice within us. Give us the strength and the courage to follow your inner guidance. That it may help give us clear direction upon how we may serve to uplift all the beings on this planet. And may that effort be broadcast into your immense creation. That all souls may be uplifted. Thank you. Amen.
We